Hey everyone, welcome to Neil Talks. My name's Neil, and it's time to talk House of the Dragon. I'm psyched for this show, guys. I know a lot of people are saying the first episode was a little bit slow, but we had to do a ton of exposition. We had to explain when we are in the Westerosi timeline. We had to introduce all these new characters, which the vast majority of viewers and fans are not familiar with. We had to set the tone and the stakes and everything else. I'm psyched. I haven't read this book, so I literally don't know what's happening. For the first time I've ever watched a Game of Thrones show, at least until the last couple of seasons of the original. But it is a very different vantage point from the first 4 or 5 seasons of GOT, where I had already read the books and I had a strong inkling of what was coming next, even though the plot of the show differed from the plot of the books in some significant ways. I'm very curious to see how far the plot diverges from the book in this case, because my understanding is George R.R. Martin is much more involved this time around than he was the first time. So it's going to be very curious to see and hear from you who have read Fire and Blood what these differences are and whether they're improvements or why those changes may have happened. One of the things I love about how George R.R. Martin tells a story is he doesn't deceive us, but he makes sure that first impressions of characters don't necessarily match what those characters are actually all about. Think back to those very early episodes of Game of Thrones. What our immediate opinions of Jaime Lannister and Tyrion were, and how much those opinions evolved over the course of seasons of television and in the books as well. So I'm very curious to see, then there were other characters like Cersei, who our first opinions of were pretty much spot on throughout the entire show. So I'm very curious to see who we're reading inaccurately right now. I know who we're supposed to not trust and like right now. Daemon seems to be, quote, the big bad, but I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes a much more complex character as we learn more and more about him. He's very reminiscent to me of all the Lannisters, actually. He's got that proximity to the throne, but the inability to have it, just like Cersei did. That raw ambition of hers is very much evident in him. He's got the charisma and the skill in battle that Jaime had, and he's got that manipulative mind and maybe that hidden heart that Tyrion demonstrated so ably. But yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more about all the characters that we briefly met last episode and see where we go from here. How much longer does the king still have on the Iron Throne before the kingdom is thrown into disarray after the proclamation that came at the end of last episode? Who knows? But we have to assume that that's coming sooner or later, don't we? Probably sooner than later. I'm sure we'll have a whole lot more to talk about at the end of the episode. So let's jump into it, guys. This is episode 2 of House of the Dragon. Oh, new opening credits. Oh, wow. And the music is identical. They haven't even mixed it up. Wow. Well, we're gonna have to figure out what all these sigils and whatnot indicate. Feels like we're like roaming the halls of King's Landing here instead of, the map of Westeros. But I wonder what this actually represents. Yeah, it feels like the city. Love it. That's disturbing. Oh, I'm not dead yet. Did the dragons do this?
Ryan was a strong Lord Commander of the King's Guard. He passed in peace, I hope.
King's Guard must soon be restored to its full complement of 7.
4 ships have now been lost. The last one was flying my banner. I want to seize the stepstones by force and burn out this crab feeder.
The 7 kingdoms had never entered open war with the free cities. Were that to happen, the losses would be incalculable.
The king's own brother has been allowed to seize Dragonstone, and Daemon has squatted there for over half a year.
Oh, wow.
Without even a protest from the crown.
Oh, we've skipped some time.
The stepstones will be settled. In time.
You have dragon riders, father. Send us.
She is
Isn't
the
that
heir.
simple? Why don't you take the princess to see about the new King's Guard posting, Lord Commander?
Yeah, we don't want you here. Heaven forbid a woman offers an opinion in the small council.
Sir Desmond recently brought a would-be poacher to justice.
A poacher, my goodness. Is the guy that fought last episode going to be one of the candidates? The one that she gave her favor to? It's her great aunt, I guess, is the relationship.
Do any of these knights have combat experience?
It's a fair question, and I don't think any of them do, because things have been so good for so long. Oh?
Sir Kristen Cole.
Yeah. We know Sir Kristen.
I choose Sir Kristen Cole.
Let's not be too hasty. But houses such as Crickle and Mallister are important allies
It's all
of
the
crown.
frickin' politics.
My father should be defended by a man who's known real combat. Should he not?
Of course, princess.
Otto's out as soon as she gains power, and he knows it.
This was the Inauguration, where the Blood Mages worked their craft.
She's still his companion.
The glory of old Valyria will never be seen again.
So that's not King's Landing, that statue. That's High Valyria. Okay. And you just lost a dragon.
Tell me, how is Rhaenyra? I wish she would approach me.
What if you went to her?
There are times when I would rather face the Black Dread himself than mine own daughter of 15.
I think she would open herself to you if invited.
I'm curious about her loyalties. Is she more loyal to Rhaenyra, or her father, or to the king himself?
What if your father were to remarry?
Mm-hmm.
I want him to see me as more than his little girl. Mine own father does not know the language of girls either. When I wish to talk with him, I know that I must make the effort.
It's already such a complex relationship between these two girls. I mean, there's true friendship there, but there's also definitely acting on behalf of fathers, and manipulation, and ambition.
Might I speak plainly, Your Grace? I fear that the eyes of our enemies are presently fixed on the Red Keep.
At the moment, the crown is perceived as being vulnerable.
Join our families. Wed our daughter Lena.
Oh.
Unite the 2 great surviving Valyrian houses. You can show the realm that the crown's strongest days are ahead.
It hasn't even been half a year since Emma passed.
The realm expects you to take a new wife sooner or later, Your Grace.
Their daughter. So marrying his cousin's daughter. Yeah, that's Targaryen incest. That's not a leap too far for them.
We should be free to speak our minds to one another.
You can say whatever you'd like. You are the king. Today at small council,
Paid no mind.
I thought I might have had some insight.
You're young.
But
You will learn.
Yeah, he's not really listening. Oh, what do we got? Maggots. Fun. They are supposed to help with
This is our best chance to save the digit.
gangrene and
Your Grace.
whatnot. Oh, it's getting worse. Is this related to the sore on his back, or...?
He proposed a marriage. The Lady Lena. To combine the strength of our houses.
Such matters must be discussed with a small council.
That is what I'm doing. Presently.
Yeah, Otto's got his own ambition for sure.
I do fear what Rhaenyra might think.
What does it matter, Your Grace? Her father must propagate the royal line. To be
Yeah.
compelled to...
Yeah, he doesn't... He wants to he'd rather postpone a
replace her
wedding.
For duty's sake. You are the king. But I do not envy you.
And Valyris doesn't hasn't particularly thought of it either. Ah, the politics. Is that her? That young? She's incredibly young.
I would give you many children of pure Valerian blood.
Is that what your father told you to say? What did your mother tell you?
That I wouldn't have to bed you until I turned 14.
How old is she now? I mean, it's terrible all around. And does he have that long to wait?
It bothers you, does it not?
Lena is your daughter, Princess. Does it bother you?
Of course it does. But I understand the order of things. I'm not sure you do.
I think these two could be
Whether it's
allies.
to my daughter or to someone else's, your father will remarry. His new wife will produce new heirs, and chances are better than not that one of those will be male. The men of the realm will expect him to be heir, because that is the order of things. Men would sooner put the realm to the torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne.
No one's just willing to rock the boat right now. But as soon as he dies...
Lord Corlys Balarion has offered the hand of his daughter.
I'm sure that she is good and kind, and that she will enjoy your company, as I have, Your Grace. I brought you something.
Replacement dragon?
I asked the stonemasons to mend it.
Okay.
Your Grace, I've called a small council to an emergency session.
Why?
What's happened? A
A
dragon's egg was stolen?
Daridaros daimon sikia
Yeah, that would have been my first thought.
The prince has invited you to his wedding.
Mosaria, is she
It is in 2 days' time.
the prostitute that we met last
Who
episode?
is Lady Missaria?
We believe
Damon's Hall.
Scorio dromon Damon leitas.
Dromon hidrotso iles Daridaros.
Dreamfire.
Daridaro belo matsumbile.
Oh, it's the same egg that they were going to use. Yeah, it was an important question.
Dragonstone and drag Damon back to face justice
Your
myself.
Grace, it's too dangerous. Damon is without limit. Let me go to Dragonstone.
I got a funny feeling Otto's not long for this world, but I'm getting Littlefinger vibes off him.
Will you see the king tonight?
If you wish it.
Is this Dragonstone we're going to? Right here? That geology, man. I don't recognize that gate. Oh, yeah, no, but that's definitely Dragonstone. The hand and 2 of the 7 Kingsguard. What a shot.
Sir Crispin, wasn't it?
Sir Kristen Cole, my prince.
Ah, yes, apologies. I couldn't recall.
Perhaps my prince recalls when I knocked him off his horse.
I'm simply keeping with the traditions of my house, the same as my brother did for his heir.
Those traditions are for the true-born children of royalty, not for bastards fathered on a common whore.
Lady Missaria is to be my wife. You've come for the egg. Here it is.
To choose violence here is to declare war against your king.
Wonderful.
Matt Smith is so fascinating an actor. Yeah. Here comes his dragon. Oh, is this the missing dragon? No, that's another one. Oh! Look who we got here. This is cool. I feel like the dragons are really going to be characters in this show. I'm going to have to start like learning their names and their traits and everything. Alright, it's even again.
Dariraroso prostas. Kesu ugleisa, luon zombaz mi anuhon isa.
People zombie mazumpilo vule, konir nuhruho sutailan.
Siculant.
Where's Hilari to be?
Does she speak High Valyrian?
If you wish to be restored as heir, you'll need to kill me. So do it.
All right, we got the egg. Is he gonna leave? It is her castle. That look back to Otto. Yeah, he's losing his handle on things. She's exerting her presence. Like, really, she should be made part of the small council. Like, why would the king's heir not be? I mean, I get that she's in the room as the cupbearer, but still. Like, there should be a chair for her.
You announced that we were to be wed, and that I was with child. I ensured long ago that I would never be threatened by childbirth.
Good. Children can be such irritating creatures.
You swore to protect me, Demon. What would they do with the commoner he claims is taken to wife and made with child?
No one will harm you.
You can afford to play your stupid games with the king, but I cannot. I came to you to be liberated.
From what?
Fear.
So he's not going to produce an heir with her. I'm trying to read whether Alicent has ambition to be queen or whether she's just acting on her father's orders and that alone.
Lena Valarian.
Lord Corlys is your master of ships. And she is the eldest daughter of the wealthiest house in the realm. What's to mislike?
She is 12.
She will mature.
What if I was to reject Lord Corlys' proposal?
He would not be likely to take it well. And the Sea Snake holds claim to nearly half the realm's ships.
He would not dare withhold them.
That's his nickname, the Sea Snake?
You should wed Lena Valarian, your grace. Sate Lord Corlys and fix him at your side, permanently as an ally.
The princess has returned from Dragonstone.
Dragonstone?
But I didn't let her go.
You could have been killed.
May I sit?
You have to ask for that seat. You're not going to be offered it without asking. Same as
You went to Dragonstone.
Small council.
And retrieve the egg without bloodshed.
Your mother's absence is a wound that will never heal.
Just like the one on your back and your finger?
The king must take a new wife.
I could never replace your mother. No more than I intend to replace you as heir. But you are my only heir. And our line is vulnerable. And I may begin to ensure that we are better defended.
Against who?
Whomever may dare to challenge us.
You are the king. And so your first duty is to the realm.
Is he just going to marry Lady Lena? It's the good advice politically, I suppose, but it's his heart's certainly not in it, but his duties to the realm. Oh.
I have decided to take a new wife.
Alicent's here. That can't be coincidence.
I intend to marry.
Yeah.
The Lady Alicent Hightower. Before Spring's End.
Making an enemy of Corlys.
This is an absurdity.
And I am your king.
Otto's winning this one. But this is definitely not what Rhaenyra expected. Man. Oh, I like that skull. This feels like
Valarian's origins reach
Corlys'
back to old
office.
Valyria. For centuries, my house had to scratch out an existence from the sea with grit and luck.
Who's he talking to?
I've always thought of you and I as having been made from the same cloth.
Is this Daemon? Yeah.
We've been passed over too often. You've heard of the troubles in the Stepstones?
Some Mirish prince is feeding Westerosi sailors to the crabs.
So he keeps them alive, but ties them to the beach for the crabs. Brutal.
And the king's failures have allowed him to accumulate strength. I will not have Driftmark beggared while our king idles himself with feasts and balls and tourneys.
I will speak of my brother as I wish.
But he's your king.
you will not.
Waiting in the Stepstones is a chance for you to prove your worth to any who might yet doubt it. We are the realm's second sons, Damon. Our worth is not given.
It must be taken.
It must be made.
All right. Okay, the Crab Feeder. I love episodes like this. I know this isn't everybody's cup of tea. This is a whole lot of scenes of people talking. But it's more than just exposition, isn't it? It's politics. It's maneuvering. It's all the unspoken conversations that are happening just below the surface. And when you've got a great cast, really strong acting, great writing, these scenes can be really, really cool. And we're also learning a lot. We're learning, we learned a lot more about Rhaenyra and Daemon in this episode. We learned a ton about Corlys and Otto. There's still a ton of questions. Like, I'm really curious about Alicent's mindset. She's so well behaved, both as the daughter of the Hand and the companion of the King, that it's hard to read what her motivations are, whether she's doing all of this just as obligation to her father, or whether she has ambition to be queen herself. How loyal is she to Rhaenyra now? Rhaenyra certainly feels betrayed, but how could neither her father nor her best friend, her constant companion, warned her, prepared her for this moment? So yeah, but I also, we got a ton of Rhaenyra this episode, and she's learning to exert her influence a little bit. And first in choosing a new member of the Kingsguard, Sir Criston. He's back. Perhaps the least politically influential of the possible choices, but again, the only one who's actually seen battle experience, because Westeros has been war-free for decades at this point. So yeah, it's a very different vibe than back in A Song of Ice and Fire, isn't it? When, recent rebellion was still very fresh. And many men had reputations built on the battlefield. Now it's all hypothetical. But it feels like war may be looming against the free cities over the stepping stones, this group of islands crossing the narrow sea, which are currently being controlled basically by this pirate, the Crab Feeder, who we got a glimpse of at the very end there. And he's got an interesting, he's not just a dude, he's got some really interesting mask. He's got this bizarre idea of torture. These surviving losers of this battle, I don't know, it's not even a battle. They were on ships that were lost, being staked to the tidal flats and being fed to the crabs alive. Brutal. Yeah, I'm super curious to see where this goes. I thought for sure that we were going to lose the king. We hinted at it so strongly in the first episode that I thought it would happen for sure by now, but clearly that's not the intent of the show. We're not going to throw the realm into chaos just yet. I like that we're seeing all the maneuvering while things remain the status quo for now. But how much more time does the king have? Time to marry, time to produce an heir. All of these questions are still very much up in the air, and who can get themselves into the best position to assume the throne when he does pass. Obviously, if he produces an heir, then it's a different question entirely. Until then, though, it's basically between Rhaenyra and Daemon. Daemon seems to have Corlys offering his services as a new ally. A lot of people consider themselves in this world to be second sons. Corlys just, used that as his pitch to Daemon. We're both second sons. Our titles aren't given to us. We have to make them. We have to take them. And I'm sure Rhaenyra feels exactly the same way, because she's only the heir despite Daemon. She wasn't really her father's choice. She was just the lesser of two evils in her father's mind, for lack of a better way of putting it. And she senses that. And now she feels betrayed both by her father and her best friend in his quest to produce an heir, his obligation to the throne. Rhaenyra thought he was going to wed the daughter of Corlys and was blindsided. But I like that she's taking steps now. Her counsel, when she and Alicent were talking in the sept, praying, Alicent gave her the advice that, you have to make the first step with your father. You can't just keep waiting for him to make the first step, because A, he's the king, and B, he's your father, and if you want something, you're going to have to make your own moves for it, whether that's talking with your father, or whether that's more influence with him, whether that's a seat on the small council, whether that's getting a stolen dragon egg back from Daemon. She's learning to take initiative, and that's really interesting. But I'm very curious to see next episode, because I think there's going to be a fire lit beneath her because of the perceived betrayal from her father, from her best friend, that may drive her to be way more proactive in the coming days. Perhaps demanding a seat on the small council, who knows? But yeah, I'm very, very curious to see where this goes. I'm loving what we're setting up. I feel like this is going to be a multi-season journey, which is exciting. Love this world, love the lore, love that we're learning more of the lore, and I like that it's a mystery to me. I like that I don't know where it's going. I will, when this is all said and done, I'll probably read the books, because I had a blast with A Song of Ice and Fire, but I don't want to know where it's going yet. I like that it's a mystery, and it's free to speculate, which is when good story is told well. That's the number one feeling you walk away with when it's serialized like this, is what's going to happen next. I can't wait until next time. And that's why I love television. I can't wait until next time. And until then, everybody, take care, stay healthy. I'll see you soon. Cheers.